Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the video. We're going to be taking a quick look at The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on the PC. This is the day one version, or whether it's just been patched. So I'm going to be showing you what the graphics options are like, discussing a little bit about the performance and so on. Please note that I have not tweaked this at all. This is the base game. There are a myriad of graphical tweaks that we will discuss in detail in the not too distant future, but I'd rather discuss the base game, in other words how it performs on the average system when you load it up, and you can kind of get an idea of what I'm running. So first of all, I'm going to show you through the graphics options. We're going to be taking the video first. Post-processing, everything is maxed out apart from chromatic aberration, because personally I dislike it. Other than that, everything's at max. Graphics, same thing. We're going to be, of course, recording native 1080p. I have, however, disabled NVIDIA Hairworks. Now, on my system, I've not noticed a massive frame rate dip. I am running an R9 290X for this particular test, which is slightly overclocked, along with 16 gigabytes of RAM and a 4770K. It's one of our test systems. I've not noticed a massive dip with NVIDIA Hairworks, but some people have. And so for the purposes of bug testing and so on, because I am running an AMD card, I've disabled it. I will be doing some testing on this with a couple of GeForce cards and so on over the next couple of days as well for our perusal. But anyway, I've got a little bit into the game. This is not a main playthrough or anything like that, so I'm not going to be playing seriously. This is just me kind of messing around. Horse, what you don't shove me, bastard. Anyway, this is not me playing properly. This is me kind of running around, showing you what it looks like at native 1080p, and it looks quite nice. Frame rate performance, I'm hitting mostly between the high 40s and 60s. A recording does obviously slow it down a little bit, but even so, you're not going to be getting 1080p 120 frames a second on an R9 280. I'm obviously slightly exaggerating, but you can see that the game looks rather gorgeous. There are a couple of problems here and there. I have noticed the odd low resolution texture, and it's not that the textures are terrible, but occasionally you will notice them. There are also a few frame rate dips here and there. Now, some people are going ahead and locking the game. I'm just running backwards and forwards just for a moment. Some people are locking the game at 30 FPS and playing it that way, which you might prefer to do depending on your setup. I'm just going to walk into this foliage a little bit. Now, I've got to say I'm uncertain how I feel about the grass. It doesn't look too bad at all, but it's also not astounding. There are ways, as I said earlier, of tweaking this so that you can go ahead. I'm just going to grab that just to kind of show you can. There are ways of tweaking it so you can increase or decrease the density of foliage, which will have quite an impact on your game. Speaking of which, what graphical settings you have, some of them will make very little difference, but others will absolutely make massive differences. Water quality, obviously, terrain quality, and shadow quality in particular can really hammer the graphics settings. That's not to say the game looks bad on anything other than high. It's just, I would personally leave the texture quality at max and possibly tweak shadows, for example, if you're needing that extra little bit of performance. Marta has been spending most of her day recording the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 versions, so you can go ahead and see how they stack up. But you know what? Let's grab a horse, shall we? That sounds like a good idea to me. Is that my horse? I think that's my horse. Yes. Let's call it over. All right. Now we have a horse. Seems like a good idea. I've left my companion, my compadre, in the inn, but that's fine. We're, as I said, just kind of having a look around. This is not combat orientated or anything. I probably will be doing a let's play of this at some point. I'm probably actually going to record a little bit today. I've been suffering somewhat of a migraine, unfortunately, over the last couple of days, and it's really affected my work, which is not ideal. So I'm pretty much hopped up on Anodins at the moment, or whatever the balls they're called, and I think they're Anodins, I have no idea. It's out of sight, out of mind. So I'm recording this in the blissful moments where the pills are effective. Isn't that just wonderful? Anywho, I've noticed that the graphics, especially the actual foliage, it kind of has all... I don't like to say water painted because I don't feel like I'm doing the artists who have created the game. I feel like I've done a slight disservice to them by saying that, but it definitely has kind of an aesthetic. In terms of the actual combat and narration, I'm just going to take you through a couple of areas, and then I'm going to run back and I'm going to get into some conversation. There we go, if I can speak. But there are some aliasing issues. I've not enabled them with PostFX or anything like that. Supposedly the game has some problems with FXAA. I've heard some rumours that you can start injecting stuff like SMAA or something similar, or of course you could downsample if you so desire, but I don't want to do that. As I said, I know that, you know, some people want the game to look as best as possible, tweak every setting, and I like to do that later on in graphics comparisons, but I don't feel it's fair for the average person to be kind of sifting through that, you know, because that's not what the average gamer does, and I know, you know, a lot of people know how to do that stuff, but even so, okay, interestingly enough, we can't actually get we can't get the horse into the water. Apparently you can't actually force a horse into the water or make it drink, so I guess there's that. For those who are wondering, you can actually kill the chickens. You can. I'm actually deadly serious. I accidentally killed a cat earlier. I'm not even joking. I was just kind of accidentally clicking and accidentally left clicked and chopped a cat in half. It kind of didn't piss people off, surprisingly. You noticed that as well. I'm just going to go back and see if that happens again. If not, you can rewind the video about 10 seconds. I'm fairly certain that I saw a little bit of oddity when it comes to those windows over there. Yeah, there you go. Did you see that detail fade in? I'm just going to do that one more time. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's very subtle, but you can definitely see the details fade in. And there are some other problems. It's also on the roof as well, actually, coming to think of it. My eyes didn't even look at that. So, we got a cat there that actually, for a second, didn't even look like it was on the floor, to be totally honest. So, most of these areas do load fairly seamlessly. I'm going to quickly show you something I really like. I'm going to talk to Elsa, who is the barmaid slash... You can actually disable, or reignite the candles. And let's get into a conversation. So, let's see. So, what I like about this game immediately, this is a nice little quality touch, is you can see... While some of these are aren't ambiguous, like farewell is obviously I'm sodding off, you know, bye-bye. Sometimes it's not. Like, they'll just be like a more ambiguous statement. So it's nice that you've got this which basically tells you, yeah, that conversation is going to be terminated. The same as this. So if you've ever got an ambiguity of, am I going to advance? Is this option to advance the storyline, or is that option to terminate the conversation? And this is particularly true because obviously I'm really early at the moment. But let's assume I wasn't. Let's say I'm in the middle of a storyline. And you're thinking, do I want to choose that? That sounds like it's an option that could possibly terminate the conversation. It could piss the person off. Do I want to go that route? Also, as a little aside, you can see at the back there, you can see people actually walking in the background with depth of field. It's quite a nice little touch. I'm just going to show you the inventory system. Just because I figure it will be nice to show you that on the PC. So far I'm not having any particular problems with combat or anything like that. So it's all, you know, mouse driven. So for example, if we want to buy bread, we just click on it and then you can just choose the amount. I'm just going to say for the sake of, oh actually I'm not buying bread, am I? I think I'm buying a bloody potato. Yeah, I am. Let's buy a baked potato. I've got some bread, so let's buy a baked potato. It's going to cost me 25. Okay, that's fine. It's not like it's going to make a difference. Then we just click that, and then it comes under options. Obviously, we've got all of the various different bits and bobs that you'd expect. We're just going to press farewell.
Farewell.
Okay, cool. Now, I've actually rinsed most of these peasants, so they won't really want to talk to me any further. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the basic premise of the game, obviously you are a Witcher at the moment. I'm tasked by trying to find someone. I won't mention their name at this point, because I don't want to spoil it, in case you're just looking for a very kind of basic understanding of how the game plays. But yeah, for the most part, it looks rather impressive, doesn't it? There is a hell of a lot of voice acting, by the way, in this game, I will point out. We're just going to kind of mosey around town just for a second. As I said, this is not anything other than my initial opinions. It's actually fairly impressive how much detail they've managed to stuff in. We can also, you can hold the right button, which will show glowing icons. This is basically like your Witcher sense, and using that you can go ahead and take stuff, sell it, all of that stuff. I'm gonna take some of that, and I'll take that because it's kind of cool. I'm not really interested in anything else. Let's see. You can see that there is a ridiculous amount of stuff to grab if you so desire. Kind of just exploring a little bit. I'm just gonna give my closing thoughts on the PC version thus far. It's still really early. It does look rather nice. I've not compared it yet to the console versions. As I said, Amata is doing the PS4 versus Xbox One, so I'll have that footage over the next few days. I can start doing a proper graphics comparison. The PC version runs rather nicely, at least on my setup, and obviously the same thing for all, you know, PC releases. It really, what you're going to get out of it really depends on what system you're running on, and obviously your desire. Like if you're trying to run on a GTX 760 at 4K with everything at max, you're going to be in some problems. Whereas on the other hand, if you're trying to run with like high settings at a more modest resolution with a lower end GPU, then yeah, you'll probably be okay. So I just want to quickly go into a few areas, get a basic combat sorted out maybe, if we can find something. I'm not quite sure where the hell something is. If I take too long to get somewhere, I'll cancel out of it, or I'll cut out of it. Hopefully it won't take us super long to find something. I was hoping there might be something around the coast maybe. It does give us an opportunity to kind of look around though, doesn't it? The game does look absolutely gorgeous, I've got to say. Ah, we've got something down there. I don't know what that is, and I don't know how we get down there, but we have something. Alright, so how the fudge do we get down there? That's the question. Not down that way. That's one way we don't get down there. Alright, well, maybe we can kind of get around the side. Maybe. Or maybe we can just kind of... I have no idea if I'm going to take damage if I fall down there. Actually, no, we can just keep going forward. That looks better. I don't want to take the risk of getting, you know... Oh, God. Horse is kind of going a bit weird. There we go.
Let's go.
There we go. That's better. I have no idea if these guys are going to kick my butt or not. Let's hope not, shall we? Alright, protective shield, that seems like a good idea. Let's go with fire, because I kind of like fire. Igni, that's the one. Okay, that guy looks like he's wants to be sliced, I'm pretty sure. He's a downer, apparently. I've noticed in RPGs that, you know, fire and water never really mix too well. Probably don't want to go in the water though, I just get a feeling it's going to give them a bit of an advantage. Ow. Alright, heavy slash, heavy slash. Alright, they were actually quite easy. What do we get from them? You can actually just press space to loot, I suppose. We've got some goodies here, I think. Actually, we can use Witcher Sense. This is not a friendly game. You're going to notice a lot of dudes hanging around quite literally. So you might just want to take that into consideration. In other words, don't buy it for a 5-year-old and then complain that it makes them violent. Yeah. Anyway, I think overall the PC port, at least my very early impressions, I will be playing more, but I just kind of wanted to put this up just so you can get an idea if you're curious on, you know, what's going on. Early on in the game, you're obviously not the greatest in terms of equipment. Alright, let's take on this wolf shell. That sounds like a good idea. Ah, turns out I didn't like fire. Who would have thought? Now, I will say that this game just begs you to explore. Like, you could easily just spend hours just looking in these castles, looking everywhere, and it's really impressive. I mean, there is obviously a little bit of loading here and there. The game does have a little bit of microstutter where it's loading completely new areas, but look how massive the game world actually is. It reminds me somewhat of Skyrim, and you know, I'm not super duper massive fan of the first two Witchers, to be totally honest. I thought the first one in particular had some really clunky gameplay, and the second one, particularly on release, had some really frustrating tutorial controls. But this is just definitely massive leaps and bounds over it, and I'm really impressed with the PC version thus far. Unsure about the visual downgrade side of things before anyone asks. I will be doing some graphical analysis. Apparently there are ways of modding the game to get a lot of that stuff back from 2013. At least that's what I'm hearing. How accurate that is, I don't know yet. Anyway, I think that's about it for this video. As I said, I just wanted a quickie because I know Amato's already put out a crap ton of content on the game itself today. So I didn't want to kind of flood about our... Hang on. Sorry, this guy doesn't look like he wants to live. Yeah, you burn. For some reason, he you know what I love about that move? It's when you use it... Ow. Ow! Okay, I've got someone else that's shooting me with an arrow. Ow, and fuck. I don't know where the hell that arrow guy is, but he is really pissing me off. Yeah, you're going to be getting sliced, my friend. Yeah, chop and chop. That would have been pretty awesome if, you know, you could have seen the chopping. But still, he got chopped, and that's the important thing I think we found out of all of that. Anyway, despite that awful combat performance, which is something I'll definitely get better on, I think we're in a pretty good position. I think you get an idea of how the game looks. I think you get an idea of how the game runs. As I said, you can see a little bit of texture pop up there as well. Some assets kind of popping in. This is LOD stuff, obviously. But you can tweak it. But for now, I'm going to get going. Hopefully you found it somewhat informative anyway. And, yeah, punch this log. Yeah. I don't even loot it, apparently. What's in here? This is what I'm saying, there's so much crap to find if you're so desired to... I mean, look at how beautiful this game does look. Very impressive. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys to it. Hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye for now.